welcome into the studio Justin Shaffer. Now, Justin, we've had you in before, of course, completing your first school year as superintendent down there in Camanche. And let's have a little bit of a review. How did it go for you?
Sure. So a lot of this year was focused on building relationships coming from within the district. I had to establish myself as the superintendent and get to know different areas and departments within the school district that I was not familiar with. Transportation would be one of those. I knew a little bit about transportation, but there's a whole lot that goes on with getting kids to and from school and to activities that I wasn't aware of, and so that was a huge learning curve. And then really spent a lot of time trying to educate myself on our elementary school and everything that goes in over at our elementary school, specifically starting with preschool, because that was something that I was unfamiliar with. And then our elementary school is a K through 4 building. So just investing time to understand how that system organizes itself and how does that flow to the middle school and high school, which I did have experience with. So that was one of my primary focuses. And then obviously last time I was here, we focused about budget. So we needed to really right-size our school district. So quite a bit of time and attention this year has been focused on what's going to make sense for Camanche in the long term, and just trying to look at enrollment trends and to make some decisions with the overall approach of let's do what's best for kids, but we also need to be more efficient with the people that we have and how can we combine some things. One of the things recently that just occurred is we entered into a sharing agreement with Clinton School District to share transportation director. This is new, starting in July, and so we'll be sharing a transportation director and getting some mechanic support from them to help with our yellow bus fleet specifically. And then we'll have a staff member on our staff already who will manage our white vehicle fleet, which is more of our Suburbans, our 12-passenger vans. We have a car, those types of things. So,
speaking of the transportation, when I reached out to you to be on this program, you were just getting back from taking some students to a track meet.
That's right. So I am CDL certified, so I do drive bus from time to time. Right now it's mostly for activities, but I'll hop in, and I've driven a regular route before if need be. For this upcoming summer schedule, I have, I believe, 5 of our away softball games. It partners well with my daughter being in some sports right now, so the track meet I actually was driving for, my daughter was participating in, so kind of two birds with one stone there, with being able to go watch my daughter compete in these different things, but also get our student athletes to these competitions safely.
And and it seems like drivers are needed. I mean, it seems like every school district looking for bus drivers.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely are always looking for more people to become CDL certified. It's a little bit of a process right now to become CDL certified in the state of Iowa if you don't have it already, and it takes quite a bit of time, and so it's a significant investment to want to be able to do that. We have a lot of people who retire being truck drivers or delivery drivers that then are looking for a little bit of a part-time gig, which transitions nicely into helping the school district a lot.
Yeah. I was asking what's your day look like, and you mentioned you got a couple of meetings, and I asked, meetings a big part of what you do, and you agreed.
Yeah, for sure. Meetings definitely are a huge part. There's always something to be looking at. One of the things I'm really trying to do is always be looking towards the future. And so just making decisions. I was talking to you before we came on air just about the district's put a lot of focus on safety. And so we have a safety committee that meets every single month, just looking on how can we be proactive. Some of the silly things that we did this year, we put salt buckets at all of our entrances just to help with slips and trips with ice. And I'm proud to report that we had no staff member have a slip or a trip incident due to ice this winter, which is a huge accomplishment when you talk about a work comp claim and those types of things. And they impact district finances, whether people want to believe that or not, because insurance premiums changed based upon work comp claims. That was a huge learning curve for me, just to understand some of our work comp trends. And then another meeting that I have later on today is just with the financial forecasting. One of our state groups has a very detailed spreadsheet that helps with financial forecasting, being able to predict out and see some trends 3, 4, 5 years from now, whether that's enrollment trends and how does that impact your finances or your tax rate, those types of things. So just trying to stay ahead and look to the future. And then I really have put a focus on trying to be visible to the students and to the staff. And so I do have lots of meetings today, Gary, but it will be a priority for me to get out of my office and get into at least one, or if not two, of the three buildings down in Camanche, just to be around the kids and around the staff and to be visible. I think it's super important for them to know who is the superintendent here in Camanche.
Well, I'm sure they already know you have with your teaching background. It's always interesting toward the end of the school year, you as a teacher, now principal, superintendent, how the students react to that upcoming vacation.
Yeah, different level of energy around the building, that's for sure. But really trying to stay focused up until the very end with our teaching staff and with the students. The same behavior expectations and academic expectations are there. Today is our seniors' last day, and we still expect them to be there and to put forth the work and to go through the process of being a student in Camanche. But yes, definitely a different level of energy around Camanche or in any school right now as that anticipation of the last day of school comes, which for us is actually a little bit late. It's been interesting seeing some of our neighbors that have been done since last Friday. Camanche is actually going until next Thursday, so we still have a week from today is our last day with a 1 hour early dismissal on that day.
Yeah, I know Clinton is going, I think, into the first part of next week yet.
Correct.
And then Central DeWitt, I think, wraps things up this Friday as well. Graduation, you mentioned the seniors. That will be coming up this Sunday at 3 p.m. Do you have it indoors or outdoors?
We are indoors in our high school gymnasium just due to seating capacities and not wanting to deal with the unknown of the element of the weather. So we'll be in our high school gymnasium. One thing that is different this fall, we added a second air conditioning unit to that gymnasium. Okay. So we'll be blasting the air conditioning, looking at the weather forecast. Looks like it's going to start to warm up for the weekend. So we'll have that air conditioning going full throttle and then have all of the bleachers out and then chairs down on the gym floor to be able to have, we don't want to have to limit the number of people that come to celebrate a student graduating from Camanche High School. And we do have a very large graduating class, I think 91, which is a pretty large class for Camanche. After this, our student enrollment, our high school kind of levels back into the mid to low 70s, which is kind of what the future looks like for Camanche in regards to enrollment.
So what does the ceremony look like? Who all gets to speak and, of course, hand out the diplomas?
Yeah, so Mr. Davis, our high school principal, has a huge role in graduation. He does kind of the master of ceremonies, coordinating the people coming up to the mic. Chris Dorsey, who is a high school math teacher for us, also has a son graduating, is giving a speech at graduation, and then each one of our valedictorians will be able to say a few words, try to limit how long they have the mic, but each one of them will be able to get up there and give some sort of message to their fellow graduates into our community.
Okay, and what about your role?
My role as superintendent is pretty minor. I actually don't believe right now I have any speaking role, but more there to help with the multiple board members that will be there to get the diplomas out and to congratulate the students and just to be part of that ceremony and celebrating that success of completing that step of high school graduation.
Always a special time. You've been at Camanche for a while, so you have seen maybe somebody you first started out with now graduating.
That is true. This is finishing my 18th year in Camanche, hard to believe. Started back in 2007, so it's been quite a journey so far. And this group, a little bit of a unique connection because I did send them, I was their middle school principal and also their high school principal for a period of time when I took over that role as high school principal. And then Mr. Davis has been on his own as high school principal for the last 2 years. So they finished their last 2 years of not having me as a principal, but this group I had for 6 years as a principal technically, so 4 years in middle school and then 2 years as their high school principal.
We'll have more with Justin Shaffer on FYI. Let's check the weather now, brought to you by Midas.
A nice, calm, and comfortable start expected for our Thursday. For the afternoon, though, we'll see a few more clouds move in and even a stray shower, isolated thunderstorm possible. Temperatures return to the low 70s again today. Those showers come to an end tonight. Will be mostly clear. Overnight lows dropping into the low 50s. With your Storm Track 8 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutsky.
Right now, fair skies. We've made it to 60 degrees. Our update brought to you by Midas. Paying extra for tire care is BS. You know, bad service. At the Clinton Midas, they're rolling out their BS-free tire guarantee. Included with every purchase, you'll pay nothing for flat repairs, for flat replacements, and zilch for tire rotation every 5,000 miles, and zero for other preventative maintenance. With this limited lifetime tire guarantee, you'll pay a whole lot of nothing compared to what the other guys charge for tire care. That's the BS-free tire guarantee. Come to the Clinton Midas, 1432 Lincoln Way. Offer with paid installation and tax. Back with FYI, and today's guest is, of course, Justin Shaffer down at Camanche. Let's take a look at the future, your vision for the future, Justin.
Yeah, so Camanche has a very bright and neat future coming forward. One of the things that the board's going to engage in is just what is preschool going to look like in Camanche moving forward. So right now we offer half-day programming. I'm quite confident that everyone in the listening area is aware that childcare is a huge barrier in all communities right now. And so the board and I will be having some conversations in the future about what can we do to make preschool more of a viable solution for families to stay in Camanche if they don't have that wraparound care. So right now we offer 2 half-day programs. So we have 2 separate teachers. They both run a half-day program, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, so a total of 4 sections. Not this upcoming school year, but in a future school year, we'll be looking to maybe make one of those into a full-day preschool program so that they could be dropped off like a normal elementary student, attend a 3-hour window of preschool, but then also have wraparound care that's attached to that. We could really stretch out their preschool day so that it could be broken up into some chunks, but then that student would be able to ride school district transportation in the morning like a first, second, third grade student, and then also be bused home at the end of the day, hopefully eliminating the need for some sort of wraparound care to be attached to that, because preschool right now, you know, they have a start time that's the same as us, but then they're done at 11 o'clock and they need to go somewhere, and that is a huge barrier in Camanche right now. One of the other things, just looking at a vision for the future, is just making sure that we're staying on top of our facilities. That's one of the things in this day and age with school shopping. People are looking at how do your facilities compare to other people's facilities. So one of the things we're proud of right now, if you came down to Camanche, our track is being resurfaced for the first time in, I think, 17 or 18 years. And so we're excited to have a brand new track surface to be able to compete on for next year, but it also needs to be what's going to be next, and keeping an eye on that future of what's the next project that we want to tackle. We've had many different conversations about some projects, but we'll really try to hone in on some things. One of the things that we'll look to do this fall is to apply for the CCDA gaming grant to maybe finish an outdoor lighting project. So right now our softball field lights and our tennis court lights are on kind of their last leg, and so can we partner with them and the district also have some funds incorporated into that to finish an outdoor lighting project. So those are some of the other things, some of the vision for the future. I think also not forgetting we right-sized the district in regards to the budget, so we did cut $1.2 million. We'll need to be mindful of that. We already talked about the graduating class is 90 students. We're predicting right now that our kindergarten class is going to be in the low to mid 50s, and so you can see right away there's going to be a change in enrollment again, and so how do we be mindful and plan for that with upcoming budgets, and just looking at staffing trends and how do we make those adjustments without disrupting the system with the least impact to our students.
You know, that's interesting because you look at the housing that's going up in the Camanche area. I would think that, you know, the enrollment would be on the increase.
Yeah, I think a lot of it right now, from what I've seen just trend-wise, Camanche is not in a unique situation. This is across our AEA. That enrollment for the kindergarten class is down. A lot of it's coming out of the pandemic, and birth rate really dipped across the state of Iowa, I think across the nation. And so a lot of that is now how are we going to come back from that? Again, getting back to the bright future, there's a lot going on out at the rail park with Atlas Corporation coming to town. Hopeful that there maybe be some other things once Atlas gets up and going, but the more that we can see industry, some of those families are going to choose Camanche. They might choose Clinton. They might choose DeWitt. That's fine. But we're supportive of the rail park and everything that's going on there because it's going to bring talent to our community. And hopefully, let's just say a third of those families choose Camanche as the place where they want their children to be educated. That will also help with our enrollment. We definitely need some additional housing opportunities. I think the thing that I've noticed in Camanche is the starter home in Camanche is what's hard to find. We do have some housing developments going on. We have some options, but it's more that second home or third home for a family as opposed to that starter home coming out of college days, or I have my first employment opportunity. That's the struggle right now.
In visiting with Justin Shaffer, you mentioned going to Clinton, going to DeWitt, Camanche. Let's throw Northeast in there as well. A lot of first-year or going to be first-year superintendents in Clinton County.
Yeah, I should make sure that I give a shout-out to Neil Gray, who's retiring. Neil's been a great mentor to me when he was in Camanche as a principal, and then was actually my assigned mentor this first year as being a superintendent. So wish Neil all the best in his retirement endeavors. But we do have a new group of superintendents within Clinton County specifically. We're pretty much all new. Adding Alicia Christensen to that fold at Northeast will definitely all be new, but one of the great things about the superintendent level position is there's a lot of collaborating and sharing of ideas, getting together to just talk through things and then bring them back to our individual districts. So that's been a nice change for me.
You've thrown out AEA, and I know Alicia came to Northeast from AEA. How are things going between those groups?
Good. We have a great partnership with our AEA. We're continuing to collaborate with them. The funding structure on the back end of it is different just due to legislative changes from a year ago. But Camanche wouldn't be able to offer all of the services that we need without the AEA. When you start to think about the AEA, for us, it's speech services, or it's occupational, or it's physical therapy. Camanche could never afford to have those people as standalone employee people that we employed. So we need to partner with the AEA so that person can work for the AEA but be assigned to Camanche School District and also assigned to DeWitt and also maybe assigned to Northeast Goose Lake, because we could not afford to have those people on staff by ourselves.
Always appreciate when my guests give me talking points, and one of yours was Public Ed 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, so I just want to really advocate that we all need to work together. Public education is the way of the future. Having an education is the one single ticket for a kid to get out of any unique situation that they might be in. And we all need to work together to make sure that public education is funded appropriately, and sharing those stories with our legislators as they look to make decisions, whether it's property tax reform or what is student supplemental or state supplemental aid going to be, what percentage is that going to be. When you look at what inflation rate is and compared to what we've been getting for SSA, there's obviously that's not keeping up, which makes budgeting situations even more challenging. So just being an advocate for public education, I like to get out and talk to our legislators. I like to share stories, whether it's with Grow Clinton and the government group that's down there working to kind of formulate position papers and to communicate to our legislative team members that here's what the impact would be if we start messing with property tax rates, or we start messing with student or state supplemental aid, those different things. So just public education is the way of the future. I'm a huge advocate of that, and it needs to be represented appropriately at our state and federal levels.
Well, wrapping it up with you, Justin, a year under your belt, what's the summer going to bring for you?
Summer's going to bring some time to just reflect a little bit. One of the things I want to do is just kind of put together a month-by-month calendar for myself of the different things that I accomplished in August, in September, just so that one of the things that I prided myself on as a building principal is things never caught me off guard because I was always looking ahead. And so just taking a deep breath and being able to say, okay, at the August board meeting, I need to talk to the board about these 5 things, and just having that already mapped out for myself for the year. And then just building upon relationships that we've established. We obviously have some significant change coming up. When you reduce a budget by $1.2 million, it's going to look different. And just making sure that everybody who has taken on additional responsibilities feels the support coming from my office and then whoever their direct supervisor is. So we'll support people to the best of our abilities. It's going to be a change, we know that, but we're confident in the future and the direction of Camanche Community School District.
As always, appreciate your time. Hope to have you in before the next school year begins. When's the first day of school? You got that?
August 25th.
August 25th. You have to have it on
That's
August.
right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Is the Dan Patrick Show.
The Steelers, they're in prime time 3 times in a 4-week span. Week 7,